Here is the recap of the first season of The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon. The main character, Daryl Dixon, comes to his senses on the seashore. He realizes that he is not in America and soon discovers that he is in France, trying to get supplies. The man finds a boat, the owner of which died with his family. There, Daryl records audio messages on a recorder, where he tells who he is, where he came from, and that he is going to return to his homeland no matter what. In an abandoned warehouse, he discovers walkers, but for some reason their blood contains a strong acid that burns the man. Soon Daryl meets travelers and exchanges supplies with them. Suddenly, people from a paramilitary group called the Power of the Living appear. They are about to rob the civilians, but Daryl and his new acquaintances kill the soldiers. However, the travelers knock out the protagonist, taking away all his supplies. After a while, a soldier named Stefan finds these travelers and learns from them about the death of his brother at the hands of Daryl. After that, the man decides to take revenge on the protagonist. Daryl regains consciousness in a monastery, where he meets the nun Isabel, who saved him. The protagonist wants to contact his friends in America, but the local radio station does not work. Soon he meets a boy named Laurent. The boy is incredibly smart and wise for his young age. The other nuns consider him the Messiah and the incarnation of Jesus. Isabel says that in France there is a so-called nest, where people who believe in God gather. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to, and they are waiting for Laurent to come to them where he can revive humanity. The nest has allies all over France, but they need a man who can lead the boy across the country, as the final goal is far to the north. The nuns believe that Daryl appeared here for a reason, and Isabel asks Daryl to escort Laurent at least to Paris. They show the man drawings made by the boy a few weeks ago, predicting the appearance of the protagonist. Daryl doesn't believe in all this mystical stuff and leaves, taking the supplies with him. At that moment, Stefan and his men arrive at the church in search of the American. The nuns won't give up the protagonist. Then the military begins to kill the women. Suddenly Daryl appears, who decided to help the people who saved him. Together they defeat the villains, but Stefan manages to escape. Isabella assures Daryl that she will help him find a ship sailing to America, but he will have to transport Laurent to Paris. The man agrees and, along with another nun named Sylvie, heads north. Along the way, they lose a horse and stumble upon a group of surviving children. It turns out they are all residents of the orphanage and grew up here since the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. Daryl learns that a local man has cleaned out all the nearby stores and pharmacies. He then took all the supplies to a castle nearby. The kids tried to negotiate with him but got nowhere, only losing 2 of their group. Daryl decides to help the teens, plus the castle has a horse that they desperately need. Daryl eventually kills the crazy hermit and returns the supplies to the kids. After that, the protagonists continue their journey to Paris. We find out how Daryl got to France. After leaving his settlement called Commonwealth, he sets out to find something worth fighting for. He runs out of gas and meets a group of survivors who are willing to sell him fuel in exchange for catching the Walking Dead with a large body. So he and the other hunters catch the zombies, but soon gets into a fight with one of the hunters due to a disagreement. Fights in this faction were strictly forbidden, so the men are tied up and sent to a ship as food for the walkers. We're shown that the ship is about to sail to France. There is scientists doing some experiments, and it is for him that the hunters have been catching zombies. Soon Daryl manages to escape, killing several crew members in the process. He meets some pumped-up walker who runs fast. After that, Daryl jumps into the water and makes it to the shore as we know it. After a while, the ship arrives at a port in France where we learn that the leader of the Power of the Living group is a woman named Jeanette. They are collecting the Walking Dead for experiments and using some kind of drug to make stronger and faster zombies out of them. Jeanette finds out who caused a mess on her ship and destroyed the results of the experiments. After that, she tells her people to find an American named Daryl Dixon. By this time, Stefan finds the audio tape left by Daryl, and by putting 2 and 2 together, he realizes that the leader of his group is looking for this American. He goes to Janet and tells her that Daryl, along with the nuns and the boy, is on his way to Paris. We are shown the past, the beginning of the zombie apocalypse in France. Isabel was a thief, and as she returns from a club with her loot, she sees swarms of walkers flooding the streets of the city. Her boyfriend Quinn picks Isabel up and is about to leave town, but the woman convinces him to come home to pick up her little sister Lily, who hasn't been feeling well lately. Quinn is not happy about this, but agrees for the sake of his beloved. However, Isabel soon steals his car and leaves with her sister, intending to take her to the hospital, as it turns out that she is pregnant. On the way, they are attacked by walkers and one of them bites Lily. Not knowing what to do, Isabel brings the girl to the monastery, where she gives birth to Laurent and dies. Isabel then becomes a nun and raises the boy for 12 years until Daryl shows up. The protagonists make it to Paris, where Isabel contacts Nest's allies. They go to their sanctuary and Daryl learns that the man who can get him to America runs a small group and is located in a local club. Isabel takes out of her old apartment things that can be exchanged for information and goes with the protagonist to this club. It turns out that it is run by Quinn, Isabel's ex-boyfriend, from whom she stole a car 12 years ago. The man still loves her and asks her to stay, but the nun has a great mission. Suddenly Quinn informs her that Laurent is his son, as he was the one who got Isabel's sister pregnant in the past. Daryl realizes that there is no help from Quinn and returns to the sanctuary with Isabel. Meanwhile, Stefan tracks down the protagonists and attacks the sanctuary. Isabel, Laurent, and Daryl are separated, and Jeanette learns that the people believe the boy is the Messiah. Power of the living wants to crush the will of the civilians. The woman orders the soldiers to hunt down and kill Laurent. She also meets with Quinn and offers him a reward for catching Daryl and the kid. The man agrees, but plans to hide his son from Jeanette. Meanwhile, Daryl finds Isabel, and they guess that Laurent has gone to the Eiffel Tower, which he wanted to see. They catch up with him, but that's when Quinn's men show up and kidnap the boy. Together with the rest of the men from the sanctuary, they attack Quinn's club and take Laurent from there. The protagonists learn that the power of the living have shut down the entire city and they can't get out. Isabel realizes that Quinn only needs her. So she goes to her ex and asks him to bribe Jeanette's soldiers to let the boat with Laurent and Daryl pass. After that, Isabel stays with Quinn. During the journey, Laurent has become attached to the protagonist and is afraid of losing him. At night, they are attacked by walkers and their escort is bitten, leaving them alone. Soon they are hunted down by soldiers of the power of the living and taken back to Paris. Meanwhile, Jeanette invites Quinn to his castle and he takes Isabel with him. It turns out that the man's subordinate betrayed her boss and told that it was he who helped Laurent to escape from the city. The couple is brought to the dungeon, where Daryl and the boy are already locked up. Jeanette has decided to put on a show of force to demonstrate her power to the people of France. First, she unleashes an enhanced walker on Daryl, but he easily kills him. Then she chains Quinn to the character and unleashes 4 more super zombies. But even this time, the men manage to deal with them. And we see that some of the walkers are unstable due to the flawed drug. The Jeanette is about to execute the men, but at that moment Isabel's allies make a mess and the protagonists manage to escape. It soon turns out that Quinn has been bitten and sacrifices himself so that Daryl can help his son and his beloved escape. Eventually, the protagonist finds them and together they leave Paris in a car. However, when they have to stop to fix the vehicle, they are caught up by soldiers led by Stefan. Jeanette orders him to kill the boy, but looking into his eyes, he refuses to do so. The soldier kills the rest of the troops and lets the protagonists go. Returning to his boss, the man lies that he couldn't find them. But Jeanette guesses the betrayal and orders the guards to capture Stefan. The villainess then sets out to find the nest and break the will of the faithful people. After some time, the protagonists reach the nest, which is located in the castle of Mont Saint-Michel. People joyfully welcome their messiah, and for a while Daryl and Isabel live in this place. The woman tells the protagonist that she had previously fooled him. In fact, Laurent did not draw the prophetic picture, but the man did not believe her then and helped her because it was the right thing to do. Soon the nest leader tells the American that he has found a boat that can ferry him to England first, and from there, the Allies will help get him to America. Without saying goodbye to Laurent, he goes to the location of the meeting, and after a while he reaches the shore, where a boat is waiting for him in the distance. First, he pays attention to an American burial ground from the World War II, where he discovers the grave of his grandfather, who died during the Normandy landings. After a moment, he is attacked by walkers and hurries to the shore to get on a boat, but suddenly he is called by Laurent, and the protagonist realizes that he is too attached to the boy to leave him for nothing. In the last scenes of the series, we see Carol, who is trying to find her friend. She discovers a man who drives Daryl's bike, and from him she learns that he got it from the hunters who kidnapped the protagonist. This is the end of the first season. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.